Hello, everyone, and welcome to the rookie division of the Spawn Point Championship Series, Week 5, the last stage of the Swiss Series. And my name is Karma. I am here with Mr. Box. And how are you doing on this fine Monday afternoon? That's been sort of at least nice here. I don't know where you are and how the weather's been here, but how are you doing on this nice Monday afternoon?
Yeah, weather's been quite nice. I woke up feeling a little bit sick this morning. Throughout the day, getting better though. Powered through all the classes. And now I'm here, ready to enjoy this amazing match. Two teams seem to be pretty close together. Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned it right as well. Two teams that seem very close, Danger Close and Ragnarok Hella. As we look in the rookie division standings, obviously Danger Close at 7, Ragnarok Hella at number 9. Both these teams 2-2. Danger Close with a +1 map differential, and Ragnarok Hella with a -3. They had to bye last week, so I think that's sort of messing up the system a little bit. But I mean, hey, looking at both these teams, we were sort of talking about beforehand where Ragnarok Hella is sort of coming into this game, and people are saying that they've been underperforming. How do you feel like that's sort of been the issue? Have you seen them play? What sort of their weaknesses that you have seen so far?
I personally haven't watched any of their matches. I haven't watched back. I think Yako's been streaming. One of their TPS players, I believe, has been streaming some of their matches. I haven't personally watched them, but I know Yako from back in Tranquility days is very, very good player. So it seems like they should be able to kind of get more value, get more wins off of that player's just sheer value. But right now, not quite looking like that's the case. You mentioned their last match was a bye week. Their most recent match was against Mass Effect, which they lost 3-0. Mass Effect is one of our stronger teams. So you can kind of see that like difference in quality between one of our upper level teams and where Ragnarok Hell is really performing right now.
Yeah, and you mentioned as well going through one of the higher teams as we look at Danger Close as well. Final Gambit, Hala, Kuzaver, and Wiley and Xavier. Hey, again, heading into this game, 2-2 record, a little bit higher than Ragnarok Hella, but both sitting in that 7-9 range in that play-in spot. What does this team need to do to sort of take that sort of leap to go into so maybe like a play-in team to potentially going straight into that playoff sort of bracket?
When when I look at teams in the rookie division, this kind of level, for me, always the key is be disciplined with your ults. Have very strong ultimate economy. Don't be throwing ults away in a lost fight or a fight that's already won. Be disciplined with that. And then the next step is, how are we playing together as a team? Are we rotating at the same time? Are we making small adjustments in our positioning? Let's say both the DPS are taking two different off angles instead of stacking on the same angle. So to really be in the upper echelon of the tier, you got to have like those two as your really solid fundamentals.
Yeah, and here's Ragnarok Hella's lineup. Obviously, Fallen King, Yak, Kua, Platypus, and Archives, a team that I personally know a little bit about. Platypus was on my former team back in the Tranquility days. So a fairly good support player could be looking to maybe try to lead this team into something interesting. But I mean, again, Ragnarok Hella going into it sort of underperforming into this side, as you've been saying. And I guess this is something you've heard, or like that you've heard. Obviously, it's going to be tough for both these teams, but obviously looking forward into that play-in matchup next weekend. Both these teams cannot fall out of that play-in matchup. Is that sort of like what the look is right now, especially with both of them sitting at that sort of 7-9 range?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe both of these teams should make the play-ins, and once you get to the playoffs, it's really about momentum. So whichever team gets the win here is gonna have that momentum going into play-ins. They're gonna have the confidence. They're gonna have the confidence in their ability and themselves to potentially make a run through the bracket. I believe the bracket for rookie division is that play-ins match and then a big double elim section. So getting the win here, winning then your play-in match, getting into that double elim section, now you got a second life. You can really start to make things happen in the playoffs here.
Yeah, and as we saw, first map going to be Ilios. Both these teams have not played it yet. It's going to be interesting to see what they come out on as Danger Close decides to ban the Genji and Ragnarok Hella banning the Ana. Two players, again, two of these characters that are sort of simultaneous with one another. I know we're sort of talking about beforehand with the Mauga account that has the Genji attached to it. So maybe they're thinking like, hey, maybe Ragnarok Hella is going to be trying to play that. So it's sort of a more modern setup. But again, it's the rookie division. It's these players that, hey, okay, what can we focus on getting better at? And what can we sort of do to take advantage of into these teams. As again, Elios first map heading into it, very excited. Old Overwatch 1 map, very excited to get back into it.
Yeah, and one of the things I've noticed with these bans, as I've been casting through some of these rookie games, is a lot of these teams, they really like map 1 is all about the target ban. What hero can we take away that one of their players is really, really strong at? So I suspect for Danger Close that ban on the Genji is targeting Yako. Obviously Ilios is quite a good dive map, Winston Ana. But then again, Ragnarok Hella bans Ana, so maybe Winston dive isn't the play here. Maybe we will see something like that that Malga comp that's more popular in the upper tiers. And that comp's really working, as we see. Yes, Juno break Malga with a Torb Sojourn. Interesting.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think they are expecting Ragnarok Hella to go into that dive option, though. Don't you think? Especially with obviously them sort of hovering the diva.
Yeah, I do. Traditionally, how it's shaken out now is that the Torb is a really good response to the Hazard. So maybe Danger Close expecting a Hazard from Ragnarok Hella, but they're going to play the Diva, which I think has a better matchup into Torb than Hazard. So some compositional mismatch here, both on Juno Brig, but Juno Brig and Soj, but difference is that tank and that DPS Echo versus Torb.
Yeah, as you mentioned right away, both these teams sort of vying for a little bit of position, just taking the underground in Lighthouse as we head into map 1. But I mean, Danger Close again, they're having that Malga comp. My guess is sort of taking control of that point. Obviously, Ragnarok Hella looking to completely surround him as King Yax gets the first pick onto the final Gambit turret. But Danger Close is the first one to get to the map point. The E out for Malga, just trying to find something in general as Diva Mech is super low for Kua. Just trying to find something. Isn't really able to go in completely as both these teams just sort of vying for position.
I mean, that's how these comps are going to work, as we see Xeno get picked on the Echo by Wiley on the Hazard. Not being able to get healed on that low ground, maybe just out of LOS from the Juno. And Danger Close is going to try and push the tempo a bit, but ultimately they don't have to. They're the ones with cap, and this Ragnarok Hella comp, this kind of or Pokey style with the Soj and Echo, it takes a long time to get your angles set up to be able to pressure onto this point and start getting value. So the more time that Danger Close is able to tick up without really taking a fight is better for them.
Yeah, and especially you mentioned it as well, just this sort of Ragnarok Hellas play style. They're trying to get that pick in. There's nobody really able to dive into it as Gambit's turret goes down. They are trying to find somebody on the right-hand side, but again, the Malga just looking for it. Juno ultimate online is able to get pushed by Platypus, but isn't able to really find much as Pat shoots the first one fall. Xeno does fall, but final Gambit is able to retaliate. That is 2 down for Danger Close. Rarely is popped for the side of Fuju, trying to stay alive. 59 HP to low point, but getting targeted completely and does finally fall. Kua is alive still, but falling for this fall. Platypus is the last healer alive for the side of Ragnarok Ella, as with the Malga from Wiley being the last real person alive, minus Apollo, as Wiley does fall. It is Apollo's time to shine. They do end up falling as Ragnarok Hella is able to try to get first capture, but they're still trying to fight into it. The final Gambit here not really looking to pop the Torb ult. I'm guessing maybe just trying to get some up percentage as they are surpassing the 90% mark. Just trying to be a nuisance in the side of Ragnarok Hella as they do fall. Bomb does get popped though. A little bit of zoning out as Hachuna gets killed, and again, Ragnarok Hella could have captured that point at about 70. They finally get it at the 95 percentile.
Yeah, it's a good stall from Danger Close. Just trying to force out some more ultimates from Ragnarok Hella. It was a good engage with the Juno Ray. You know, that's one of the big win conditions. When you have Juno, that ultimate is just so strong. So charging that Juno Ray first really netted them a lot of value. But those staggers, it's match point, and it's gonna be tough. You have that Hazard or that Malga ultimate to kind of lock down the point. It's gonna be really tough for Ragnarok Hella to keep a hold of this point here.
Yeah, it is. It's 2 fall already for Danger Close. Both support ultimate, so that is just the dupe online. Dupe right now. His portal does pop out as well. Zuno does get one. It's just final Gambit left alive, just trying to find something. Is not really able to find anything and does fall. But that does count as 2 ultimates for the side of Danger Close. Whereas only really, and again, 2 for Ragnarok Hella. But I feel like Danger Close's ultimates were more impactful.
Yeah, the Malga Cage doing a good job of sectioning off to half the point, but the response from Ragnarok Hella with the rally and with that copy able to repel the push, but now it's matching Juno Rays, and Danger Close is gonna go early with it.
Both Rays out so is the overclock from King, just trying to find one. Does find Fuji, that is one of the supports down to the side of Danger Close, and that could be the target point for them, is just trying to back off completely. But Apollo pops their own overclock, trying to find one, and is getting fully low. It does end up falling. Wiley is the only one to find a kill there on the Fallen Soul, as they end up falling as well. As Ragnarok Hella is able to slowly get up to the 84th percent, but Platypus does fall.
It's going to be a really rushed touch here for Danger Close, swapping over to the ball and the Symmetra to try and get a good fight here. But there's a lot of poke, especially from Yako on the high ground, that Echo as well, nearing duplicate, and you have a Diva Bomb to clear point here. It looks pretty good for Ragnarok Hella, but that rally could fell otherwise.
Yeah, it really could. His bomb is out from the side of Koa, trying to find one is shielded off completely. So they are able to get back, but Fallen Solo does fall, so it is the only one falling from the side of Ragnarok Hella, just trying to keep everybody alive. As the duplicate comes out for Zeno, does dupe the Juno, so they should be able to get that Ray very quick. As Fuji does end up falling, Torb is alive still, using the E to try to get alive. But again, it's just a contested battle right now. Zeno does pop the Ray, so that is a good fight to win, but Wiley gets able to find King, not able to find anybody else. As Platypus falls, Fallen Solo falls. It is all blue, and the kill feed is Danger Close is looking to take map 1. The only 2 people alive is Zeno and Kua as Winston, as they are falling super low, trying to just contest as much as they can, as Danger Close takes Lighthouse on Ilios.
Yeah, King Yako with the Sojourn ultimate in the fight before the contest, getting more value from that ultimate than the opposing Sojourn on Danger Close, really gives them a shot at that final contest fight, and it looked pretty good for them. The touch was didn't look like it was going to be a very strong cohesive contest from Danger Close, but ultimately the rally sustained was able to hold them up on that objective, and the Diva Bomb wasn't able to really find the value on that point. It was pretty clean with the Brig rally from Fuji, to be honest. Very much the reason why they were able to get that last point flip.
Yeah, it was. Both these teams rocking out on the Mauga. Both these teams are sort of keeping everything else the same, though, with the only switch going Kua onto the Mauga for the side of Ragnarok Hella as we head into Ruins. But both these teams, again, very similar styles, 2 and 2, just both trying to take control of their own side of the map, with Ragnarok Hella taking this bridge section, as Danger Close just sort of taking their own time, just trying to vibe out by the Mega Health Pack and just sort of popping back shots. Point unlocked, and that's Ragnarok Hella's go button right there. Wiley is using the E, trying to find one as they're about to capture the point, but again, Fuji is the first one to get onto Zeno with the Echo falling, but again, all starting to be all between the kill feed, with Fallen Solo falling sort of low. But Apollo does end up falling to the side of Danger Close. It's going back and forth between these 2 teams. Both the Malgas trying to stay alive as much as they can. King Yak does find Fuji, that is the Brig down to the side of Danger Close. But so again, it could be a turning point. Hashu does find Fallen Solo. Zeno finds Final Gambit, so it is Torb down, as Kua, the main tank for Ragnarok Hella, ends up falling. And it looks like it's going to start to be that could be the turning point, with Platypus falling, as well as the Mauga for the side of Danger Close is still alive, as Wiley ended up playing a little bit late, but they do capture the first point. But King Yak is able to find 2 and capture their point right back up.
Yeah, Danger Close having a strong play from Wiley on that Mauga, able to net them a point cap for a little bit, but Yako being the big difference here. Almost is pretty much at that Sojourn ultimate, Apollo really far behind. So that just shows the impact that Yako had in that fight. And copy early? I don't know about this one.
Yeah, copy very early, trying to just go into the backline, but Apollo does find Yako, so that is the 1-for-1 they were needing, as Final Gambit does end up falling as well. But it looks like Danger Close is sort of backing up, but they do have somebody on the point that's trying to just capture it from their backline, as Ragnarok Hella gets up to less than 30%, but now Danger Close has the point, and Ragnarok Hella is just fighting in their own backline. Now they gotta fight back. Apollo does end up falling, so they are able to capture this point, but with that percentage being ticking up, they do lose a little bit of it. So rally gets popped from the side of Fuju, trying to make sure that they can get some sort of fight going here, especially since they did have the pick, but it looks like they're just going to try to back up a little bit as the Ray comes out from the side of Platypus, trying to keep on pushing their advantage. This is what Ragnarok Hella is trying to do. Cage coming out instead of Wiley, just trying to find one at all, and isn't able to counter Cage coming out, but two fall for the side of Ragnarok Hella, make that the Cage as well. But that could be the turning point for Dangerous Close right here. Just trying to find something. Wiley does end up falling, so it is still a pretty even fight. But again, Final Gambit and Apollo find both the break and the Mauga, as Yako just trying to stay alive and is able to turn the fight completely.
Yeah, it looked a little bit messy. I wasn't sure about that that Echo dupe early. I think you should probably let Danger Close in a little bit closer before you decide to press the tempo. But ultimately, the ultimates get traded out, later rally, and that Juno Ray on top as Danger Close was trying to kite out, sealed the fight win for now. And now it's last fight, and if Yako gets an early pick here, it could be the round over right now.
Yeah, it really could, as Yako pops the overclock. They do have the Ray on the side of Danger Close, so they are basically all the damage mitigation is right there. But I mean, again, it's just trying to find something. Apollo Heavy is really the only one up with an ultimate with their own overclock, but Final Gambit falls super low, is able to stay alive just barely at half HP. But again, it's Ragnarok Hella that could push the advantage here, about 80% to their duplicate, but Fallen Solar just falls in the middle of their team, so now this could be a complete backup from the side of Ragnarok Hella, as their main brig did end up falling. Yeah,
you're gonna have a faster Ray here for Ragnarok Hella. You should build this up somewhat soon, which will be a really good advantage for them. And I think they should decide to probably press fast when they get that. And the ring comes out as well. They're looking to go.
Yeah, they are. A duplicate out, as well as the overclock for the side of Apollo. Zeno does pop it onto them, down to the Mauga, but Hachu is the first one to fall. Platypus as well. So that is both Junos out, as Final Gambit and Fuji are able to find one of their own, as it's just looking to be back and forth for both these teams. Final Gambit is able to find another one onto Fallen Solo, as really they're the last one alive. They finally end up falling to the stickies, as Apollo is back trying to find one more. They do find Yak, so it is just a 1v1 now on the point with Zeno versus Apollo, as Juno doesn't come back. And it is dangerous, able to keep the point right now, at least, as Platypus is able to find Apollo, and Kuma is back, as they do end up turning the point.
If Tank and Juno are here, those are the two ultimates you really need with your Ragnarok Hella to keep yourself in this game. And it looks like that Cage, ooh, yeah, that's a really big pick.
Yeah, Cage gets popped, but they do get picked right away. Fuju does end up falling for the side of Danger Close, as well as Sachu. So that is both of the supports coming out for the side of Danger Close, as Ragnarok Hella is able to try to keep alive. Final Gambit really to be the last one is on point with the Molten Core, as Platypus is able to clean them up. Zeno just trying to clean up on Apollo. That one falls, as well as Ragnarok Hella takes .2.
Yeah, a lot of these fights are leading to a lot of messy trades, and it's really the DPS for Ragnarok Hella are just getting that little bit more value, one or two picks earlier than the DPS for Danger Close, which has been the difference so far on the last map. Quite impressive play from Yako on the Sojourn, getting a lot of good picks, and also Fallen on the Brig, coming up clutch in that last fight, building that rally quite fast, and was the difference able to sustain them on the point while they were waiting for that Juno Ray. And once that Juno Ray comes online, it was the point for them.
Yeah, and it does look like a little bit of a switch up here for Danger Close, as they look like they're trying to favor the Ramatra instead, so it could be a little bit different, as you do see the support switch as well from Juno and Brig to Kiriko and Lucio to try to deal with a little bit of some more sustain. I'm guessing maybe some more go power as well, as this sort of brawl style, it looks like it's going to be one of those very, very fast to go teams. But again, both these teams just sort of biding their tide, one in Bridge, one in Cage, just trying to find something, as Yako is fairly low, just getting doubled by Apollo, but Apollo falls super low under 32 HP, as Fuju is the first person to fall. And again, just looking rough for Danger Close, trying to find somebody is Wiley, and it's not really able to stay up, as Final Gambit falls. Yak is able to find Wiley, and just everybody falls for the side of Danger Close.
Yeah, I don't know about the Ramatra. Yeah, we're gonna see swaps. The Ramatra, think has an amazing matchup into Malga. I think Malga is usually winning that matchup against the Ramattra, which is probably why we see the Malga swap. I think maybe they thought Ragnarok Hella was going to come up with a different comp, but that copy early is going to press this tempo, and they have point cap, but Apollo's able to get the flip while Ragnar's winning this really quick fight.
Yeah, like you mentioned, very quick fight as Apollo does not get out. But I mean, again, like, yes, they're pushing the advantage, but again, this is the second time now that they push the advantage, and Apollo is just able to capture the point for free. So they get a free 11%, even though Ragnarok Hella won the fight.
Yeah, it's a interesting decision to be able to do that, but if one of the team members for Danger Close is going to the point to cap it while you're taking that early fight, then you have a 4v5 and you're likely to win that. So you give up some objective, but you're getting a advantage in the neutral fight. And as we see, trade of supports here.
Yeah, trade of supports. Fawn Gambit does end up falling though, so it is still on Ragnarok Hella to be able to win this fight. And it looks like that Danger Close is trying to back off a little bit as well, with Fiju coming back as well as Final Gambit. And again, it's just been sort of very back and forth, just waiting for everything.
Yeah, these kind of stagger picks aren't letting Danger Close get a really good fight, and now we're in last fight scenario where Ragnarok Hella has that Juno Ray. You have the Kiriko ult for Danger Close, but I don't know if that Kiriko ult is gonna be enough to really counter this Juno Ray when it comes out.
That is, the Final Gambit is able to get Yak, so it is even, but now Ragnarok Hella is able to find two, Final Gambit and Hachi, just trying to make something out of nothing, really, as Fallen Soul does have to rally, so they could be popping that fairly soon. That is pop. Wiley ends up falling. Apollo as well as last one alive is Fiju on the Juno as they end up falling, and Ragnarok Hella takes point 3 and takes map 1 of Ilios.
Yeah, it was a strong DPS play, and also just what really sealed it in that last point was the supports for Ragnarok Hella building their ults faster than those for Danger Close. And when they're taking these fights fast, and Danger Close isn't really able to get that much of a strong fight on point, then it's like you get to this last contest fight, and if you just have the support ults, you win. Like, there's no other way around it. If you don't have the support ults, you can't sustain on that contest fight when it's on that OT. It's not possible.
Yeah, it really is very rough, especially when you, like you said, you have the support ults for one team, you don't have the support ults for another. So it's gonna be very difficult to see that in the future. But I mean, again, looking at Ragnarok Hella, obviously you mentioned they're underperforming, and I sort of see how, especially when they do sort of, I don't want to say overextend because they're trying to push the advantage, but they're pushing the advantage sometimes in inopportune ways. Do you feel that as well?
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes they're going early just for the sake of going early and not really waiting for the key cooldowns to come out. In this Malga mirror, it's that Malga Cardiac Overdrive. That's really the key cooldown. If you can force that early and then kite out for a bit and then go back in, you're gonna have way more of an advantage. You're more likely to win those fights. But the DPS just strong enough to kind of get the picks right now. We'll see if that changes as we go through the rest of our series here.
Yeah, and then obviously looking back at Danger Close, obviously very, very strong map 1, or point 1, I should say, on Lighthouse, just trying to sort of deal with it. Obviously, Ragnarok Hella had a very different play style with the D.Va instead of the Malga, but I mean, what can they come across from this to sort of improve heading into map 2 and sort of get their footing under them?
Yeah, I think Danger Close did a really good job when it wasn't the mirror matchup, like you said. When they played that Malga into the D.Va comp, they had a pretty good understanding of what their win condition was, and that was making sure we hunker on the objective, we're getting cap, and making it difficult for them to making it difficult for Ragnarok Hella to get angles. And if someone's overextended, okay, Malga peeks out a little bit, maybe a slam, and then you can kind of get that pick and snowball from there, and you've been capping up point the whole time. It's good, but there's not a lot of maps where that playstyle can really work as we go forward here. So I'm curious to see what map they'll pick. I think it should be Escort next. So our options are Circle Royale, Havana, Shambali, and Watchpoint Gibraltar.
Uh, honestly, none of them really just sort of
Yeah.
feel
I
that. But
mean, Apollo did good on the Sojourn. Maybe you could go to something like Havana. The rework to the first point spawn, particularly, it's been quite popular to run Malga comps and spawn camp on Havana. So maybe Havana's the play.
maybe, but I
I
guess
don't.
I guess got a noise from our producer person, but it is free choice. It looks like.
Oh, it's
So
free
they could,
choice.
yeah, it's free choice. So they could go to any map. But I
Ah,
mean, again, like you were mentioning as well, they don't really have. There's not really a lot of maps in Overwatch nowadays that makes it so that you can just sort of hunker down in one area and have them and sort of pick them off as they come towards you one by one that they could on Lighthouse in Ilios. So they really had that first map started very well, and I think it fit them really good. They just had to win one or two more fights on either Ruins or Well. I think Well was sort of like a steamroll completely because they were expecting
yeah,
a
yeah.
comp swap. But if they were to win one more fight on Ruins, I think that could have been the chime change. But again, as we're waiting in for this next map, it's just up in the air what we're going to see. Obviously, we saw that Mauga comp come out, which I think we're both sort of expecting to come out, especially with how strong he has been since its release
Yeah.
in general. But what are you sort of expecting heading into map two? Obviously, we don't know the map yet, but heading into the second map, do you think we'll see more Torb as well? I think that was something that Final Gambit was looking fairly good on, especially in Ilios.
Yeah, the Torb gets pretty good value in the neutral. I think I said before, it's really popular when you run the Torb into the hazard comp. Um, because Torb is able to live the slash into wall combo with his shift. So it's or with his E. So it's interesting, but he also has pretty good neutral. His shotgun is like quite big damage to the tank. So if you're running a kind of ground tank that wants to run at you, Torb is a pretty good way to dis and I'm just a prophet. Havana is the
I guess.
pick.
I guess you are. Havana is the pick. I mean, like you were saying, Apollo was doing fairly good on the Sojourn because I could very well see them heading sort of into that direction, especially since both these teams were playing the Sojourn. But it goes to be interesting to see what the ban is. If one of these teams decide to ban, like say they want to ban like the Sojourn Hans or Sojourn and say a Sigma or a Winston or somebody that can deal with that sort of double sniper comp, it's going to be interesting to see what these bans come up to. As Danger Close looking like they're going to ban Zen, so it's going to be very interesting to see why that is. But I mean, again, it all comes down to the bans. They add a new sort of style into the game, especially with the sort of the double sniper and that sort of aspect.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the previous matches played, and Ragnarok Hella has not played Havana before, but Danger Close has played Havana in every single one of their matches. Actually, they've won it. They've won it twice and they've lost it twice. So maybe Havana is just a map that they're quite comfortable with, and we see the versus bands Zen the first one, Sojourn the second one. Sojourn, I think it kind of makes sense. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
you were quite like if you're Ragnarok Hella, it's like okay, yeah, Yako was doing quite good on the Sojourn, but Apollo was also doing quite well. Maybe Yako wants to play that Genji now that it's not banned on this map, so maybe you're okay banning Sojourn. The Zen pick, I think that has to be a read from Danger Close that Ragnarok Hella will play maybe like a Sig or would want to play a Sig Bab Zen comp um, on Circuit Royale, but I don't see the precedent for that in the matches played. So maybe they have some scrim results. Maybe they got some insider info on what Ragnarok likes to play on Circuit Royale.
Maybe. I mean, honestly, like Savannah, I feel like is very sort of similar with that double sniper comp. So maybe they're just trying to predict it. Obviously, Havana looking like to be a very sort of comfort pick for Danger Close at this point. It's going to be interesting to see what they do come out with, especially with the Sojourn ban. If they decide to just go straight double sniper with the Widow Hanzo picks, maybe they try to go somebody else with that DPS pick. If Hella decides to go into that Genji route, obviously banning the Sojourn, what are they going to try to pick? So it's going to be very interesting to see what we end up doing heading into this next map.
Yeah, and just to note, Danger Close banned Zenyatta on the last time they played Havana as well. Um, versus Kitsune Cavalry. So maybe they like Havana as a kind of brawly map, playing these like 3 fight first point comps. You know, get the spawn camp, then that first corner fight, and then that contest fight at the end. And their theory is we'll just ban Zen because we don't want to play the poke, we want to play the brawl.
Yeah, as we see the maps, as we see the map stats right here. But also that brings up another point too, is with them playing Havana, obviously this looks like one of their comfort picks, like we were saying before. Maybe they just feel like the Sig Bap Zen comp that they are, I guess, sort of targeting to ban. Maybe they've realized, hey, we don't have a good way to fight this. Maybe they like having that Rhine or the Mauga comp, and they like having that instead, and that's like their comfort pick. And they're like, hey, a lot of teams run the Bap Zen on this, let's just get rid of the Zenyatta. Whereas the Baptiste can still be okay, but with the Zen without the Discord orb and the long range on this map, it just makes it a whole different ball game for the side of Danger Close.
Yeah, and we are going to see a DPS swap for Danger Close. Queso Verde coming in for Final Gambit. So maybe that's showing a different DPS look, as we do see the Widow locked with On of Mercy. I don't know how I feel about that.
I think the Ana is more so just for the Sigma. Obviously, they do have the nano boost. They're more than likely going to be damage boosting Apollo the entire time for Fuji on the Mercy. As we look over the Ragnarok Hella as well, obviously Sigma comp, Ana Genji, I think it could be very good. Or yeah, Ana Genji, Widow, Juno. It's going to be very interesting to see what these two teams play, as actually Fiji is using Queso first.
Yeah, just trying to get a early pick on somebody walking out of spawn. The damage fall off on Widow makes it quite difficult at these longer ranges now, but that extra damage boost can possibly net you a kill when it shouldn't. And as we see, gets the pick, damage boosted headshot on King Yako, starting the fight here. But Wiley will have to contest point here, because Kuhai is trying to get this cart moving forward to the first corner here.
Yeah, like you said, Wiley, even though he's contesting point, still getting picks on the Xeno. And it also, too, with just the Ana pick as well, you're able to let your Mercy sort of just DPS all, or damage boost all your DPS, as Danger Close is trying to hold this corner as much as they can, just trying to find something. Sleep gets out, doesn't hit anything. But again, Queso just trying to find one, finding Yak, but just not really able to do much onto it. As Danger Close just trying to take advantage of it, as Queso does end up falling. Not enough Shurikens to try to get the pick onto Fiji, but is able to get the res, as both teams are sort of vying for position, super low on the side of Fiji, as Queso ends up falling again, as Genji goes in for the side of Xeno. They are close to end falling, but not really fully, as Yako is able to find Wiley. So it is 2 picks on the side of Danger Close to Ragnarok Hella, as Ragnarok Hella just backs off completely.
Yeah, that pick on the Widow gives you some space, forces the Mercy to res, and that cart moves around the corner as that res is popping off. It's going to be close to that nano here. I'm curious if they'll nano Sig or they'll wait for that blade. Nano is early for Wiley, though, for Danger Close.
As Queso does end up falling, Nano, like you said, out as well, as so is the Valkyrie for the side of Fiji, trying to find one, as Flux is also out, as the Nano Blade as the Nano comes out as well, onto Xeno, onto the Genji, trying to find another thing, but Yak is able to find Apollo. Again, just Ragnarok Hella able to push back in and trying to fight in, but Danger Close is able to completely contest and hold this afterwards, as Queso is falling super low, trying to find one, as Apollo finds Xeno. And again, Nano Blade isn't popped, but Nano does get popped, so just no blade.
It's okay if you're Ragnarok Hella here to kind of use that Nano. It's not ideal, but Danger Close, they used both their support ultimates. They used Flux, that ultimate for the Widow, not going to be doing a whole lot. You'll just kite that for 15 seconds. That Bob is going to be used for contest. As we're Juno Rang early, and Genji gets shut down. That's really what you wanted to combo here if you're Ragnarok Hella. This fight, you have to back out here, surely.
Yeah, you do, as Queso does fall super low, but again, Xeno not back online, as Platypus falls as well, so it is another support falling, and it looks like it is just going to be back up completely for Ragnarok Hella, as Kua is able to fall out. And like you mentioned, both the combos for Xeno onto the Genji have fallen completely short.
Yeah, you like the first shot is the Nano Blade, right? Nano comes out, Blade not quite online yet. You lose the fight. More ultimates invested for Danger Close. The next time you have that Ray and you pop the Ray quite early, and then Xeno just gets his head taken off. Like that's what happens with these Widows. Sometimes you just get picked and you have to deal with it.
Yeah, Bob getting caught from Apollo, trying to find one and trying to separate the side of Ragnarok Hella. As you see Platypus switching off of the Juno onto the Baptiste, trying to make something out of nothing. As Yak is able to find Case, so that is the first pick. Laid out for the side of Xeno, is able to find one on Hachi. So it is 2 picks, but Apollo does find Platypus. Yak does find Fiji, that is both supports down for the side of Xeno Close. Flux out, misses everybody completely, as it is just Wily popping overtime, trying to make something out of nothing, really, as it is just the 2 DPS for the side of Ragnarok Hella, trying to stay alive as Wily, as Queso just falls completely. Wily falls super low, is not able to live, as it looks like Ragnarok Hella is able to capture point 1 fairly close on Havana, as no more contests. Danger Close falls completely as Ragnarok Hella gets point 1.
Yeah, the only saving grace of holding this blade for so long is that when you finally pop the blade, there was no ultimates to be able to kind of counter for Danger Close. So Xeno goes into the backline with that blade, finds 2, and then Yako with some clean kills on the Widow opens the point up for them, and they have a shot now at this second point. With the Winston look, I think this could work for them here if they're able to stuff Danger Close in the choke like they are right now.
Yeah, it really is, and I think this fits them very well as well, with them trying to go super aggressive. But as Yak gets the first pick on Apollos, it is 1 dead. Xeno is able to find Fiji, so it is 2 fallen already for the side of Danger Close. Nano is up, but not wanting to be popped. It is Hachi as they end up falling, and they could take point 2 completely with just sort of one sort of team fight that wasn't really a team fight.
Yeah, the Genji and the Lucio and the Winston are now working together as a 3 group to kind of dive on this main core of Danger Close. We're going to see a Reaper swap, trying to put some more pressure on the Winston, make the Winston's life harder. But Winston has that ultimate right now. You're going to disrupt a lot of this, and it's going to be a really difficult contest for Danger Close here.
Yeah, it is, as both supports are out. Xeno does able to find Apollo, but it is 2 picks for the side of Danger Close. Fallen and Yak do end up falling. Genji 1 for the side of Queso as they do end up falling. But Wally is able to find Fallen solo. Platypus is really the only support left, as they just capture the point as well with Wily falling.
Yeah, that early pressure towards the spawn side of Danger Close working wonders for Ragnarok Hella. Able to make that contest really disharmonious. Nobody's really contesting a cart together as a group, easy pickings, and they're able to move on here. They have the Lucio beat, can be really good sustain, especially when this Nano comes out. So Torb going down early and getting res.
Yeah, Torb falling early. Sleep does get popped, so the Flux does able to get 1 as the Nano does get popped from Hachi onto Wily. Is able to find 1 on the Platypus. That is 1 popped. Winston also falling super low, but is not able to stay alive, as King Yak is able to sort of back off completely. Almost gets killed by the Ana, but is able to stay alive just barely, as Xeno falls off the map.
Did Platypus Ajax, did he get slept out of his ultimate? Because I saw the ult charge go to 0, but then I didn't see the beat. Maybe I'm just...
I did not see the beat. I'm looking at Discord, and I just see a screen rolling of Ajax. So apparently there was an Ajax that I just missed completely. But hey, if it happens, it happens. If they get slept as they beat it, so
it's okay. Platypus wanted to swap to Juno anyway, and they're going to press tempo with this Curie Rush, try and get down this main angle.
Yeah, as you see, Wily is able to get the first pick onto Xeno, as the rush is out, trying to keep alive, as Blade out as well for the side of Queso is trying to find 1, isn't able to find anybody, as they do end up falling to the side of Fallen. Apollo is able to find Kua, so it is the main tank down for the side of Ragnarok Hella, just trying to push the advantage as best they can. But I mean, again, 3rd point Havana is one of the toughest points to get in the entirety of Overwatch, so it's going to be very difficult for them to try to get this point.
Yeah, I really want to see the Ramatra and Genji kind of walk down this front line together. I think if they're separated even a little bit, I think the Ramatra just kind of gets folded over as we see Queso on that Widow, finding more and more value, and now it's a really staggered out fight here for Ragnarok Hella. In this overtime, it's not going to be looking good for them.
Yeah, it is. It's Apollo and Wiley able to find two. Again, the multi-core on both sides. Zeno does get the blades, trying to pop it. 18 HP, is not able to stay alive as Hachi does get res in the backline. And Apollo able to find Yak, so it is just all blue in the kill feed as they do clean up completely. And the furthest that they get is over the bridge for Ragnarok Hella, as there is an official endpoint for Havana.
Yeah, there's no final gambit in the field for Danger Close, but Apollo on that Torb also doing the work. I think that Torb swap was probably allowed their Sigma to kind of stabilize in that front line, help the Sigma not get lose that tank matchup versus the Ramatra, give a little bit more support for the Sigma, which I don't know if we'll see that on offense. I don't think Torb is as good on offense as he is on defense. When the other team has to push into the turret angles, it's a lot stronger than when you have to kind of set them up yourself. As we are going to see, it looks like potentially the same comp for Danger Close's first point defense as their first point attack, that Honor Mercy, and Raghella opting for something similar, but that backline is Anna Baptist.
Yeah, a little bit of a different back line for the side of Ragnarok Hella, where instead of favoring maybe a Mercy to try to damage boost one or both of the DPS, they're going for that Baptiste Ana to try to focus on that, which I feel like is okay, especially with just trying to output damage. But I think at the same time, it's going to be interesting because there's not going to be a lot of healing going around between these two teams, between Ragnarok Hella. You're going to have a lot of healing output, but so not a lot of ult charge because of the healing.
Yeah, we are actually going to see the Torb on the attack for Danger Close. I'm curious to see how it'll work out. Maybe because the Sigma has a Torb with it, and Ragnarok Hella doesn't have a real frontline DPS. They have two more pokier DPS. Maybe Danger Close can just walk down, but they don't really need it. Queso with the early pick on Yako is going to allow them to push this corner. But as I say that, Ana finds the trade.
Yeah, Fallen is able to get the trade, but they could be rezzed up here. It looks like that's exactly what they're trying to do. Sleep goes out, but it hits Wiley instead. Does not hit the Mercy. So it is a one-up fight for the side of Danger Close, just trying to find something as Kua is sort of falling a little bit low here. Fallen just trying to keep everybody alive. Dynamite out, does hit 3 or just hit 2 or 3. As again, it's just Ragnarok Hella trying to back up, trying to keep this point from moving too much further. As King Yak is able to find Apollo, that is a nice pick onto the Torb. Just trying to find some more picks as Wiley is also end up falling. So it is down 2 for the side of Danger Close, as it looks like Ragnarok Hella is just trying to push the advantage a little bit more right now, and that's exactly what they're going to do with Queso finally falling as well.
Yeah, so maybe the Ana Bap is a more stable backline than the Ana Mercy. You don't have that extra damage boost, but you're able to heal the Sig a lot quicker with those Ana darts, plus the Baptista grenades rather than Mercy Beam, which these Widows are going to keep going back and forth trading. That's how it's going to be. The Ashe is going to have to pick up the slack on the DPS pressure here in the front line.
Yeah, it is, especially with everything like that. Kua is at 1% off of getting his flux, and he does have it pop. Could be looking to pop it, and he does right away, basically. As so does the Nano as well, but Dino is able to find one of the case, so just trying to stay alive. He's getting down to 29 HP, trying to find somebody to stay alive as Queso ends up falling as well. Flux out for the side of Wiley, trying to find one, but he does get out of the way from Fallen. That is a massive ultimate, especially with that turning point for Ragnarok Hella, just as they all stay alive pretty much, and trying to just keep this momentum on their side. Apollo is alive as Kua is purple. Bob coming out from the side of Zeno, just trying to separate the side of Danger Close. Nothing really much to fall on as Fuji does end up falling. Shield is completely broken for the side of Wiley, so there is no shield alive, as Hachi is able to find one, does end up falling. Apollo there with the Torb just trying to find anything, and really isn't able to. As Queso on the tracer just gets completely shut down by Yak.
Yeah, it's really strong support play from Ragnarok Hella right now. They're making up the difference. The DPS are quite closely matched. Queso off of that Widow in the last fight went on to the Tracer. Um, and the support's making up quite the difference that on a huge sleep, huge sleep, cannot highlight that sleep enough. Saves them the potential for a cap, I think. That Flux could have been really big value. And now you have an Animatrix too, and there's no Sig Shield to kind of section off that Animatrix, so it could be really strong value here.
Yeah, it really could, especially with Xeno switching over to the Cassidy now, as the Matrix does get popped, as Fuji is just traps in no man's land, so it really is just up to this last fight, pretty much, getting ready for it.
Yeah, Tracer Sombra is the swap now. I wonder if Fuji is going to swap Lucio. Yeah, they're going to swap Lucio. They have a Nano Boost coming online, but the Sombra gets picked early. That's not what you want. Contest with only one DPS being Tracer, it's doable, but it's not what you want. You really want to have that Sombra in the dive too.
Yeah, but both supports for the side of Ragnarok Hella do end up falling, so it is now just really up to Kua, as it is all blue. Looks like the Cliffy hack come out, as well as the Pultron isn't able to clean up, but Xeno is going to follow. So they are
turning this fight here.
Queso is about 30 HP, trying to find somebody alive. As Xeno gets Fuji, Queso does end up falling as well. Just last one alive is Machi, as Moira falls, and Ragnarok Hella is able to first hold Danger Close.
Really strong hold there. Everyone on Ragnarok Hella taking turns with the clutch in that last fight. Kua bringing up the heat as the dive comes in, pushes the backline, gets a few picks. The Cassidy at the end of that fight, finding the rest of the picks and securing this map to win for Ragnarok Hella. This could be a 3-0.
Yeah, it really could, especially with Ragnarok Hella sort of pushing, getting that momentum that we were talking about beforehand, sort of the momentum from first map. Obviously, that first point on Ilios was looking a bit bad, as we are now as after that, it looked like it was all Ragnarok Hella. Yes, they were pushing the advantage a little bit too much, but they were just trying to build that momentum, it seemed like, throughout that point. And especially now on Havana, they were able to find that turning point, find that momentum shift, and they were able to basically push to 11, it seemed like.
Yeah, not being afraid to really swap up the core archetype they're playing. They went from poke in their first point attack, they swapped over to the dive, and they were able to push through second, swap over back to kind of a brawl comp with that Ramatra, made it part of the way. Really strong performance from Ragnarok Hella in that last map.
Yeah, it really was. This Danger Close to us end up falling 0-2 on their own map pick. But right after the short break, we'll head into map 3, and we'll find out what that will be right after this. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to week 5 of the Spawn Point. I was at Spawn Point Control Series. It's been a while. Spawn Point Championship Series. I'm Carmo. I'm joined by Mr. Box. So far, again, Mr. Box, heading into this matchup, we're talking about how close these two teams are, and we've sort of seen that even though the scoreline doesn't showcase it completely.
Yeah, both the teams have been somewhat close. That Ilios especially, quite close on the first 2 points. Last point, not as close as we saw that first map. Just a quick recap: Ilios saw Genji and Ana ban, and it was primarily a match of Malga comps uh, being played, and Ragnarok Hella got that win with a kind of higher tempo style. And as we move to the second map, Havana was Zen and Sojourn banned, and it was mostly the SIG comps being played, and it was a really overall strong team performance from Ragnarok Hella that got them the map win.
Yeah, it really was. And we sort of talked about beforehand, if you missed it, we were sort of talking about how it sort of seemed like Ragnarok Hell was sort of underperforming as of late, at least like you've heard from rumors and from people sort of talking. But heading into map 3, Danger Close pick Midtown. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they do end up picking. It's a hybrid map. I believe, let me scroll down a little bit. They
Yes.
are 1-1, so they have played on this map before. As we look at Ragnarok Hella, they have not played on this map before. So it could be another sort of thing that we saw last time with Havana, or it could be completely different heading into this next map.
Yeah, and we are going to, I don't think you guys on stream see this yet, but the first ban pick from Danger Close is Ana. So in that first map, Ragnarok Hella banned Ana. Now we're seeing Danger Close ban the Ana. Maybe they felt that that Platypus on the Ana in that last map was too strong.
Maybe, honestly, it could really be a thing. I think one thing they could as well, especially with the sort of picks from Danger Close, with Midtown, I feel like it could be a very brawl heavy map, but I feel like they could be not wanting to deal with that Genji damage blade, especially with Yako on that as well. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do end up playing, what Hella ends up banning heading into this next map. It's going to be interesting as they do ban Torb, so
Yeah.
something that Danger Close has been sort of favoring the last two maps and doing
Yeah.
pretty good with Gambit and Apollo both on it. So again, it's going to be interesting to see what they do end up playing. I think we could see a lot of brawl here. I think we do see that Mauga come back out, but it's going to be interesting to see what these two teams do end up playing if they decide to go that way or decide to go somewhere else.
Yeah, I was trying to think back to when the last time we saw Midtown in kind of upper level play OWCS type competitions was, and I think unironically it might have been EWC. Um, but I'm really not sure. But I do distinctly remember that some teams were playing Sig and Torb on Midtown. Maybe that Torban has some prophecy. Uh, Maybe
Maybe.
they knew, but I think you saw both Apollo and the other DPS for Danger Close both trying to play that Torb, so logical ban otherwise.
Yeah, it really will. It's Final Gambit playing it map 1, now Apollo playing it map 2. Heading into it, obviously, I know personally Midtown, I like playing Torban as well, just sort of throwing your turrets on the high ground, doing a lot of damage as they go through the choke point. Could be very interesting. But heading over to Ragnarok Hella, we saw a few different sort of styles going out for them. We saw the Diva comp on Lighthouse. We saw the Mauga comp. We saw the Sigma comp. What do you feel like they're going to try to come out with? Is it going to be that Mauga comp? Is it going to be something more brawl heavy, more poke heavy? What do you think?
The when they played the Malga comp on that first map, it was quite close. I think if they're looking to kind of get a leg up, I think they would maybe try and force a mirror off the Malga comp. It'd be less risky if they could. Maybe we go back to Sig. I think Sig is quite popular for Midtown. But ultimately, I think Brawl is probably a very good assumption for what we'll see. Some sort of Brawl comp. Maybe we'll play. Maybe we'll see Sim, some sort of TP Brawl. You know, TPing across from that choke into the fire station is something a lot of teams like to do. I don't typically see it at this level. Kind of the TP Brawl really getting all the value that it should. It's a very like it requires a lot of team coordination, and you have to really map out how you want to respond with the TP in every single scenario. So I think it would be quite interesting if we see the TP Brawl. Um, maybe we will, maybe we won't, but Malga likely, Sig potentially. I think the more kind of interesting question is what DPS do we see? Um, Soj was banned last map. We're gonna see Soj come back. We saw some Ashe play, Cassidy. Um, Genji has not been banned since first map. We could see Genji. So really, really open, I think, what can be played here for both teams.
Yeah, it is. As we do have a sort of DPS swap with Final Gambit coming back in for Queso. And like you mentioned as well, they could do that TP strat, the TP sort of TPing into the fire station. And one thing that Dangerous did showcase in Ilios, even though it was really for one fight and they sort of got steamrolled on that third point and well, they did showcase that Ramattra Brawl. So it is, we know that it's in their wheelhouse. We know that they know how to play it. So it's going to be interesting to see if they do decide to come out on that and maybe instead of say, hey, Final Gambit, your Torb's banned, play Symmetra this time. Play a different sort of more defensive style character. I think that could happen, but either way, we are heading into map 3 here shortly, which is going to be Midtown. It's something that I think is going to be sort of, it could be the turning point here. It's going to be all the momentum heading into this play on stage, and something that Ragnarok Hella has been dealing with, and hopefully they're able to continue this heading into the next map after the break. As you see the map stats right here, Danger Close, obviously Danger Close pick. They've played this a lot. Played Umbani, they played Priesthu. Really, the only one they haven't played was Hollywood. Whereas, again, Ragnarok Hella, sort of the same thing as last time. They have not played this map yet so far, so it's going to be a complete mystery as to what they end up playing.
Yeah, as we will jump into the map right now after a small Discord issue for a player on Rag Hella. And we'll see, I think, the Danger Close being on defense first, as we're going to see. This is the comp that they will likely run out with, barring some late swaps. Ragnarok Hella still has time to make some swaps here, but it's Brig Kiriko with Sojourn Junkrat. Junkrat players rejoice in chat. Where is Mountain Mike?
Yeah, exactly.
When you need him.
Exactly. But yeah, I think honestly, looking at this team, at least I'm not going to really look at Ragnarok Hella because I think that's going to be switched completely. But looking at Danger Close, obviously the midpoint sort of entryway being super sort of congested, I think that could be very good for Junkrat. As Ragnarok Hella is now going to take a look at their team, looking like they're going to favor the Diva comp, something that I think could be fairly good for them, especially since Midtown is very sort of open and very good to be sort of, I don't want to say picked apart, but very good to be surrounded on.
Yeah, and we're gonna see Train. We're gonna see Ragnarok Hella look to rotate through the height a little bit, go left side maybe with the Diva Lucio. I'm curious to see how the Brig Kiriko is going to react to this Lucio Juno, because Brig Kiriko is not a very common DPS line, but Brig has really strong heals with especially with a lot of the perks. But it's very slow heals. It's not a lot of burst healing on this for Danger Close. So if Ragnarok Hella can get someone down low very quickly, it's very likely for them to get the pick.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do with Fallen Solo, or excuse me, with Hachi, as Fallen Solo ends up falling as well. But Hachi is able to find, or Haku is able to find 2, as Xeno is able to find 1 more. As it looks like this is exactly what Ragnarok Hella wanted to do. They wanted to sort of surround them and then pick them off one by one, as they do get finally the first tick, as it still looks like Danger Close do still have a few players alive with Wily and Uji right there, just trying to contest the point as much as they can. Suzu does get used, so no Suzu online for the side of Hachi, just trying to find something out, trying to find something for Wily, as they end up backing out completely as Wily falls super low, about 90 HP, 60 HP, make that entirely. As Danger Close is trying to make this fight, Final Gambit does end up falling, so that is 1 pick to the side of Hella, as Fallen Solo as well finding another one, the Yak as well. Duplicate online just for a good measure, as really it's all red in the kill feed with Ragnarok Hella cleaning up stop and getting .1.
Yeah, I remain skeptical on this this Brig Kiriko. I think if you're Danger Close with this comp, you really wanted to kind of set up a kind of kill box to jump into with the Malga Stomp as Ragnarok Hella is trying to rotate around with that Juno, with that Lucio, but they weren't able to set it up. Obviously, they didn't have the Venture. The Venture would have helped a lot with being able to make something like that really work. And now Ragnarok Hella has all the ultimates. They're gonna go fast with the beat here, but that Cajun response could shut that down.
Yeah, it really does. The falling Zilla ends up falling. Dua is able to find few decent. Is one support on both sides as Xeno ends up falling to the side of Ragnarok Hella. Just trying to, again, this goes back to pushing the advantage as Ragnarok Hella has been trying to do the entire time. They do fall a bit as Hachi does up falling. That is full supports down for Danger Close as they're trying to just move the payload a little bit. Kua does have the Diva Bomb, so it could be a good sort of separation ulti. As you see Apollo on the sort of spectator screen, just sort of sitting underneath, trying to find something. It does play as much as they can. Continue to rush out, so is the Ray from the side of Platypus, just trying to find some sort of heals and some sort of damage as well. Platypus falls a bit low, trying to stay alive is Platy, but not really able to have much. Pulse out, isn't able to clean up anything as Bomb goes out as well, trying to separate everybody, rally out, trying to get a squish now. That does not happen. Xeno falling pretty low as Fuji's the first one to officially fall completely. Xeno 1% off from the dude. It does have it and pops it. Gets the Mauga from Wily. Trying to turn up the thing as Hachi is able to fall completely. Wily able to find one. So is Apollo. Set is both supports down from the Ragnarok Hella, but King Jack and Xeno able to find two more, both the DPS and the main tank. As Xeno gets out of the transformation point, Cage coming out isn't really able to get much. Really able to get anybody, excuse me, as Ragnarok Hell is just able to push the point a little bit further.
Yeah, we're gonna see a swap over to Kiriko from the Lucio after all of that's said and done, and it's a really really strong ultimate eco from Ragnarok Hella. They trade one ult for the Lucio beat in before that real contest fight, and they were still pushing the cart throughout all of that, so didn't really hurt that trade. And then the big ultimate fight that we just saw previous to this, they're able to win that, and they got this cap off of a really clean neutral with the echo play. It's just tempo real fast.
Yeah, real fast, and also the full swap from the side of Danger Close going over to this Hazard comp now.
I think Danger Close is, they're really at their wits end. They don't know what to do with this tempo. They don't know how to respond to it. They're trying to find something. Swap to Orisa now, was on Hazard for a little bit. Moira, I think the name of the game for Danger Close is just try and find individual value. Try and find some individual value with these picks, and then get to a position where you're drawing all the time off the time bank.
Yeah, as Apollo is the first one to fall, so it is all red so far in the kill feed. As Wily is able to get a nice spear onto Xeno, so it is one pick out. Tune Rush does not pop, it sounds like it was. Bomb out though, trying to find something, is not able to find anybody, as the Venture ultimate is the one that is the top actually. So Fall Solo does fall fairly low. They do have the rush as well as Platypus' Ray, but Fall Solo is not able to pop the rush that is able to come out. Just trying to find somebody is Ragnarok Hella as King Yak is just falling super low. But I think this is a good time for Ragnarok Hella to back out and repeat.
Yeah, so this comp that Danger Close is on now is actually pretty good at kind of locking down corners and the point as well with the Venture and the Mei. Look at that Mei wall, big Mei wall separating off the Juno Ray. Wow.
Yeah, Mei wall out, but it is all Ragnarok Hella in the kill feed. Getting 3 completely, 4 make that now. The last one alive being Wily is a complete ace for the side of them. If they do get 3 on, I believe they can't full cap, but they will try to make this very rough for the side of Danger Close. With them only really having the Coalescence online that it's popped fairly early. Kua does have bomb. They do have both bombs, the Pulse and the Diva bomb. Trying to find somebody to stay alive is Danger Close. So trying to find just something in general to make something happen. Bomb out for the side of Kua, just trying to stay alive. And their team, as Wily ends up falling to the bomb, is not able to find out where they are. So it is your main tank down. That's your main sort of space healing. Final Gambit ends up falling as well on the Venture. TP out, and dead is Hachi. Pulse out as well. Blizzard is out for the side of Apollo, but they're falling as it is all red in the kill feed as they get another ace to clean up point 3 of Midtown.
Yeah, it was very interesting in that last point. I think Ragnarok Hella, they built themselves an ult bank that was just too much to deal with if you're Danger Close. You had some opportunities if you get the Mei ult up a little bit faster before before that Diva Bomb comes out and gets your Orisa, I think you might have a chance there of kind of finding some value, getting some more time off the clock. But I think with the pace that Ragnarok Hella pushed through second point, they were always going to cap the end there. It's just a matter of whether or not they were going to have time on the time bank, and they do have time on the time bank now. Minute 14 they capped with.
Yeah, it was. And it also, too, during that fight as well, there was a few times where you definitely felt like Ragnarok Hell was maybe pushing their advantage a little bit too much, especially on point 2. But they sort of reeled it in a lot, just sort of pushing in their advantages when they know they have it. As soon as, say, Willie gets picked, or as soon as they see a TP come out, or as soon as it come out, that's when their go button is. That's something that we've sort of seen them throughout this series improve on drastically, going back to Ilios and now going into midpoint.
Yeah, some of the times they're pushing, it's not a clear advantage, but there is a small advantage there, and they're able to find the value off of it, even if it's not the most optimal. I think maybe that's where they get caught by some of these higher up teams. They're taking these quite aggressive fights. They see some small value there, but the other teams can recognize that as well. Where Danger Close, they aren't able to really kite out these fast pushes from Ragnarok Hella, as they are on Zarya and walking to point right now.
Yeah, but Willie is almost the first one to fall. Fallen is actually, but it's all red the kill feed, as Ragnarok Hella says, you are not playing Zarya on my watch, as Danger Close is heading back into spawn completely.
Zarya's perks can be quite strong, but you really need time to build it up, and you need to be staying alive with full charges. We're going to see the Ramatra swap a little bit more stable than the Zarya. We saw the Malga into Ramatra matchup earlier on map 1 on Ilios, and it didn't go well for Danger Close here, but we have a completely different backline here, so maybe that's going to be the difference. Juno Moira maybe can help stabilize that Ramatra enough where your Echo and Reaper can chunk down the Malga.
Maybe, but it is all go now for Ragnarok Hella, trying to find one final game, because find fall into his one pick, but Riley is the next one to fall for the side of Danger Close. That your main tank down. That is your entire team falling quickly afterwards. But again, you mentioned it. We saw this before. It played out before. It did not work for Danger Close, and you see that right now with Wiley switching back over to the Ramatra. He just got a little bit bored with playing Ramatra the entire time, but Danger Close, that boredom costs them dearly.
Yeah, it's not looking good. You're not able to charge up to any of these ultimates if you're Danger Close when you keep swapping up your team comp. Wiley reset again after the swap to the Malga now, and Ragnarok Hella, with all these swaps that Danger Close has made, now you're in that situation kind of like you were on third point, where you have an ultimate bank developing where it's pretty difficult to kind of lose here, as the copy Malga jumps in and just destroys the back line.
Yeah, from the top rope already, just able to clear up everybody. And again, dude, going back to this as well, Ragnarok Hella, we talked about it a little bit beforehand, where they looked, I don't want to say underproven, but they looked sort of, they were underperforming at times. But this is a team that you see they're building that momentum, getting it ready into play, and have built this momentum up dearly with just under a minute and a half to go before they win map 3.
Yeah, I think Ragnarok Hella has finally found their groove here. Their DPS playing really well, support playing really well, tank playing really, really well this match. Like, the early cage is gonna absolutely shut down this push. Oh, never mind. Final Gambit finds the trade.
Yeah, Gambit finds the trade. Rally does come out as well for the side of Fallen Solo, but it is just that. Nothing really much. Trying to keep everybody alive, as Apollo is the next one to fall.
They have a Juno Ray if they need it.
Juno Ray gets popped. Wiley is able to find Fallen Solo. Death Plus as well gets popped, but I guess Gambit is not able to fall alive. Platypus does have the Ray, so they're trying to look at. They do finally pop it, excuse me, as Zeno is able to find the next one, and it is all just ready. The kill feed again for the third time in a row. 15-player kill streak for Platypus, just trying to clean up completely. Zeno does pop the duplicate, which could be rough for them, especially with Danger Close getting so close to all their ultimates. Getting so close to 2 of the major ultimates.
You know, really kind of glazing Ragnarok Hella a bit, but they've let the game state get to a point where Danger Close has a cage and a Ray for this point on this contest. This could be the moment for Danger Close to finally cap his first point. No, no. It's all going wrong.
It's all going wrong. Hachi is the only one that's failed. Apollo does get a kill from the grave, as Kiriko does get it, but it is 2 more on the side of Ragnarok Hella, trying to clean it completely as the overtime wicker burns. Fuji falls without having to pop the ray, and Ragnarok Hella wins 3-0 over Danger Close on 2 maps that they did not play at all this season so far.
Yeah, Yako and Sino, you know, they were able to kind of clutch that. It looked dicey at the end there. They get the pick on the Juno before the Ray comes out, and that's it. It's a map completion for Ragnarok Hella. The job is done. You get to 3-0. You're going to boost up in the standings. I don't know. Maybe this gets them out of play. I'm not sure. Depends on other matches. I think they need to pray that some of the matches go their way. Maybe they can get out of the play-in spots with that 3-0, but unlikely. But as we've been saying, 3-0 is a big result for them going into this playoffs. You have all the confidence now. I think if you're the team that gets matched up against Ragnarok Hella in the play-ins, you're very, very scared. You are very, very scared.
Yeah, it really was. We started this whole thing talking about, hey, we're getting into plans after this match. It's the sort of, you got to get that momentum built up, and with this map as well. Obviously, I don't know about other maps or anything like that, but looking at this as well, Ragnarok Hella is now sitting at 6th in the standings, and Danger Close is now sitting at 9th in the standings. So they sort of flipped themselves completely. But it is going into this as well, with Hella going into it, just building that up. As we see the rookie division right here, the Ragnarok Hella sitting at 6, Danger Close sitting at 9. It's going to be that sort of thing where it is all about the momentum. And Ragnarok Hella, yes, they had a little bit of some overextensions at time, trying to push the advantage when they really didn't need to. But I think that's something that they could work on, especially heading into the plans, and be honestly fairly dangerous heading into this playoffs.
Yeah, it's sometimes just pushing the tempo is good. Sometimes you can catch a team off guard, but it's when you're consistently, like, when that's your first option, that's when it starts to become a bit sketchy. But they play really good here today. I think depending on what happens in other games, as we saw the standings, I don't believe any of the other matches today for Rookie Tier are in. So depending on what happens in other matches, it could be more movement there. We'll see over the course of the night after the stream. Everyone will be able to see on spcs.solomon.gg. You can find the website for the SPCS tournament, and you can keep track of all the matches, standings for every single tier. So
yeah, you could. It looks like it too as well. Obviously, we started looking at it. It looks like Ragnarok Hella could move up to almost that 4 spot too, if both the teams in front of Beastnos and Infernal Blade end up losing 3-0 in their respective matches. I don't know who's facing. I have not looked at the schedule yet completely, but hey, obviously we got to end it off. We got to end off with an MVP. I think we both had the sort of same thing with Yako, Yako getting the sort of MVP. A lot of these good picks, a lot of these sort of good, I don't want to say turning points, but really just having the focus on him completely and sort of letting the rest of the team around him just sort of show up as well.
Yeah, I think you could have given an MVP to quite a few players on Rag Hella, but I think Yako was consistently finding picks, finding trades that led to fight wins and map wins, especially on that map 1. The Sojourn play was critical to Ragnarok Hella picking up the win. There was a lot of fights, especially on Ruins, where messy trades comes out, and it's because Yako gets the better of Apollo in the Soj matchup that Ragnarok Hella is winning those fights. So congratulations to King Yako for MVP. It's looking good if you're a Ragnarok Hella fan going into the playoff.
Yeah, it is, and especially like we keep on going back to mention the sort of momentum heading into this game. We talked about, say, hey, we want the momentum. The team that wins this is getting all the momentum heading into the play-in tournament. Looking back before this match even started, both these teams were coming off fairly convincing. I don't think fairly convincing wins, but Danger Close was coming off a 3-0. Ragnarok Hella was coming off a bye week, sort of getting their mental straight and everything like that. So it just goes to say where if even if you do come off that sort of high sweep of a 3-0, it could be fairly difficult to come with. But again, just sort of looking at these two teams, what's sort of your biggest takeaway coming away from these two matches?
I think my biggest takeaway was that Ragnarok Hell is showing that maybe they can actually be considered in the upper echelon of the rookie tier this season. A lot of good things from them. Strong ultimate eco, not making a ton of mistakes, not really throwing ultimates into lost fights where they shouldn't be ulting for the most part. There's still some scenarios where you can iron that out a bit, but for the most part, strong ultimate eco, and then also the team play around the DPS was massive today.
Yeah, it really was. But before we go, we got to highlight some matches for the rest of the week. As one of my personal favorites, Chicago Deep Dish is facing Colon 3 Siamese on Wednesday in their intermediate division, and Arthipokes, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that word, is facing Concordia Wild. Apothapookies is facing Concordia Wild Win on Thursday at 8 p.m. and 8:30 respectively. Again, very good week of the SPCS this week. And just sort of, again, like going back into it again, this is the last week hitting ready for play-in for at least the rookie division. Very good matchups to go on beforehand. And yes, anything else, Mr. Box, that you want to sort of mention before we wrap up this beautiful broadcast tonight?
Well, that intermediate tier matchup, I don't know if it actually will be Poland 3 versus Deep Dish, because I think that match was rescheduled to Thursday. So I think there is another matchup. This is like recently, I just see in the questions and suggestions, the someone from Colon 3 asking. So I think there may be another match there, but I will be casting that match. So you will be back with me again on Wednesday, the professional ringer in teams and also in casting.
Hey. You need it. But yeah, so yes, it does look like that match is actually rescheduled. It is X Hollands.
EXN Holocene and Ignition Sacred Fire.
Yes, thank you again.
That is the rescheduled matchup.
Yeah, as you guys could tell, it has been a while for me to cast. It's been very fun casting with you, Mr. Box. I hope we cast again sometime soon, and it's not a 6-month, 7-month hiatus for myself the next time we're casting. But again, thank you, Mr. Box. Thank you, Person. Thank you, Orange. Thank you, June, I believe, was in there as well. And one more person that I cannot remember the name of. Thank you all for watching and in letting us sort of take you over your weekend. Rain as well was a third person to help out with. Thank you all for watching and enjoying us on this Monday night. Hope you guys' spring is warm and weatherful and not just a complete mess at some points like I was tonight. Thank you all for watching. See you next time.
Ciao tutti.